Welcome to the Dancing Master, Buxton International Festival 2021.
Figure 44, yeah.
My name's John Andrews. I am the artistic director of Red Squirrel Opera, and I'm conducting this production of The Dancing Master.
Who gave you this impudence to spin that tale of cock and bull?
So the history of this piece is really fascinating. Malcolm Arnold had only recently gone full-time as a composer. He'd left his post with the London Philharmonic Orchestra, where he was a trumpeter. He'd won a scholarship to study in Italy and had really immersed himself in all of that operatic cultural heritage. But his plan, his real ambition, was to write something very, very serious. And he returned to England intent on writing an opera on the life of Henri Christophe, who was the first Black Haitian leader. He had discussed this with Joe Mendoza, and together they put together a short excerpt as an application for the Festival of Britain. Now, the Festival of Britain then turned it down. At this point in the early 50s, Malcolm Arnold was still seen as a dangerous radical. His music was violently avant-garde, far, far too progressive for this great state cultural occasion. But a couple of years later, Mendoza sent Malcolm this libretto. Now, The Dancing Master had begun life as a film script, and Mendoza, when the film plans went awry, decided instead to adapt it as an opera libretto and send it to Arnold for his consideration. What he wasn't expecting was for Arnold to send back a completed opera 2 weeks later, and this literally landed on his desk, finished.
What the clown is, no grace, no style, no passion.
Suddenly, Mendoza had the opera that they'd been planning to write. He took it to his bosses at the BBC. Unfortunately, the higher powers at the BBC took one look at the libretto and decided that it was far too bawdy for family audiences.
Oh, that a man of the town has dared to fall in love with Miss Miranda.
He suggested that Arnold could take it to ITV. He took it over to Granada, played the entire opera with him singing every single part. Granada didn't think that broadcasting an entire opera was part of their remit either. And I think because he was enjoying such success as a film composer, there was no impetus to really try to see it staged, to see it come to public light. He just moved on to the next project, and projects kept coming and coming and coming. And of course, he wrote nearly 100 film scores over the next decade. So it languished in obscurity. There were some concert performances before that, but the Guildhall performed it in 2015. And then it landed on my desk with a suggestion that we could perform at the Malcolm Arnold Festival in 2018. And that was when I first came into contact with this astonishing piece. Because the characters are larger than life. The plot is a restoration comedy. It's a comedy of mistaken identities and shut-up heroines and an escape and marriage and a domineering father and a domineering governess. It's not complicated, it's not sophisticated, it's just really, really funny. So having seen it, it seemed an outrage that this piece isn't more widely known. So on the back of that, we of course recorded it last year, and to hear Arnold's fantastic, wonderfully evocative and detailed and magical orchestration bringing this thing to life was such a joyous experience. So it's a double pleasure now to be able to show what we always knew, which is that this piece has a life in the theatre.
My name is Susan Moore, and I'm the director and the designer of The Dancing Master. When you're not allowed to do the thing you love for so long, it kind of does bring things back into sharp perspective, shall we say. So I was really inspired by a photograph about showed the cast of Beyond Our Ken and Round the Horn. And it seemed to me that whilst the high arts departments in the BBC were saying no to what was going on in The Dancing Master and the kind of risque stuff that they perceived to be not suitable for an opera audience, in the light programming of the BBC later on in the 1950s, there really was some quite groundbreaking stuff going on in terms of the things that they were covering. So having outwardly gay characters who were no longer victims, who were actually in on the joke, in fact leading the joke, and really kind of groundbreaking characters for women as well, and women being much more equal, so really quite forward-thinking kind of programming. And I think that seemed to me to really fit with the ideas in the Dancing Master. The company is also made up of that sort of commedia dell'arte, kind of different voice types fitting different characters, and that was a really interesting thing which seemed to tie well with what was going on in the Dancing Master. And so it seemed to me that we should start to explore, if the BBC had maybe said yes, what would that broadcast look like? It's just really fab that we're getting to finally be in a room together and perform and start to explore these amazing characters.
Hi, I'm Eleanor Dennis and I'm playing Miranda in The Dancing Master. It's a role that I've absolutely loved getting to know and to sing it. She gets some wonderful music to sing.
My name is David Webb and I'm playing the character of Gerard. Gerard is an interesting character. He comes across very blustery and romantic and kind of passionate, and he has a lot to learn from the female characters.
Hi, my name's Carby and I will be singing the role of Prue. Now Prue is the maid to Miranda, the main love interest. Miranda has lots of lovely tunes, but do you know what? I think Prue has a lot more fun.
Hi, I'm Mark Wilde and I'm playing the role of Monsieur, who is a rather foppish character. He's betrothed to Miranda, very colourful, but he's a great role to play, and it's an absolute gift. I get to do the whole thing, a kind of hello French accent.
Will you be good, Miranda, in the English fashion?
Hello, I'm Fiona Kimm and I'm playing Mrs. Caution, who is the aunt of Miranda, the heroine, and the sister of Miranda's father, and also, quite complicatedly, the aunt of Miranda's fiancé-to-be.
Particular pleasure to bring this work to Buxton, where the festival has always championed these lesser-known works. It's also, of course, the Arnold anniversary year, and I think it's a wonderful tribute as Arnold's reputation begins to ascend again with a performance of his Fifth Symphony at the Proms this summer. A composer who was, I think, very unfairly patronised by a lot of the musical establishment in his life for his accessibility, for seeming artless simplicity, that we are now appreciating that actually art conceals art with Arnold, and that beneath a surface easiness there are some very, very deep and very, very complicated things going on underneath.
Love will add wings to follow, and will find out a way.
So thank you for taking a chance on a piece that you don't know. Thank you for coming and supporting the festival. I really hope that you enjoy every last second of this wonderful piece, and I'll see you in Buxton.